The first step is prepare the flare. So we'll go ahead and take the post, rotate our base in, slide the post right into the base. Go ahead and take our 2-piece drip tray. Next step would be to prepare the brew head. If you had this packed away in the case, you would have found the brew head with the portafilter installed and probably the screen inside. If you had this packed away on the counter, you might have already had the piston in place and on the base. So go ahead and pull the stem out, separate the portafilter. If this were the case, we'd have the plunger at a lower position. We're just going to want to make sure it gets to the top to start the brew. And to do that, we're going to use the dosing cup, place it on the counter like that, slide this on top, and just push it to the top. Next step will be to prepare your beans and load the portafilter. You can go as low as 14 grams or as high as 24. We recommend that you use the cap, which is a tamping cap, and then later a preheat cap to help protect the bottom of your basket while you're tamping down on it. We're going to grab the funnel, place it on top. We're going to use 20 grams of coffee. Once you have the coffee there, you can see there's some clumps. We're going to want to make sure that we break those clumps up. We can either use a tool to break that up, or we can just cup it with our hands and give that a quick little shake. Move it around a little bit, distribute, make sure we have a nice even bed to start with. We're going to take our plastic tamper. You could also use the new stainless steel tamper there. We're just going to make sure that we're focusing on an even tamp. Now we're going to go ahead and place the drop-in screen. And again, the screen just goes right on top of the bed of coffee. Once we have that in place, we can go ahead and set this aside. So the preheat, we're going to take our cylinder and our preheat cap, and we're going to connect them together and place them down like that. Next step is to take our preheat water. This could be your brew water, or it could be water that you've boiled to boiling point, which is probably 212. If you could start with boiling water, it'll be a lot easier because you can get the metal up to a higher temperature than you need, and as it starts to fall off, you'll have what you need for the brew range later. You might want to do this at least 2 times. Darker roast you could probably get away with once. You should fill it and preheat it for at least 30 to 45 seconds. If you want to go after a lighter roast, you might want to go ahead and boil the cylinder with the plunger in it at the bottom of a kettle or of a pot. So once you have that ready, you're going to want to dump out the water that's in there. It's important that you don't pull the cap off while there's hot water in there. You want to invert and dump the water out like this. And once you know you have it all out, then you can go ahead and remove that cap because there'll be a little bit of residual there. Flip it over, and we'll use that as building our stack. You can put the brew head together on the table, or you can put it together on the portafilter. We're going to do it on the table. Now that we're ready to brew, we're going to go ahead and take our brew water, pour it through the top, and we're just going to pour enough in that we see it start to come into that well. And it's okay if you have a little bit of overfill. It doesn't need to be dumped out. Go ahead and push in the stem like that and rotate up the gauge so it's easily viewed. When we're ready, we'll mount it on. It's okay to switch hands, but don't ever let go of the lever as you're pulling the shot. Also, another option is to put the second hand on top of the first one, and that does of course give you a little bit better leverage. It makes this a lot easier since you're using 2 arms instead of 1, like a triangle. And just keep pulling that shot, and we're probably hitting about 6 bars, and that's a good place to be in. You can always go up to 9 if you need to, but you start to experiment and figure out what works for you and the coffee that you're extracting. You might find that you like to pull in the 6 bar, you might pull in the 7 or 8 bar. Keeping the flare on a lower counter surface will make this a little bit easier too. If you find holding it there a little bit too much work, stand right over the frame as you're pulling the shot. I'm just going to hold it there for a sec. We're not going to pump it. And this way we're just kind of squeezing the extra remaining water out of there. Next step will be to clean the portafilter. One way to do it is to use this tamping cap and preheat cap. Place it on the counter. Then you can go ahead and remove your brew head and place it right on top and remove the stem. Again, the metal is going to be hot, so I'm touching it here on the silicone. Once you remove the stem, we can go ahead and lift up and hold the bottom. As we remove that, we can set that aside. The easiest way to remove the screen is to just push down a little bit, and the screen will pop up on the other side. You can go ahead and remove that. And then you have some coffee that you want to get out of there, and you can use a knockbox or the side of a trash can. You can easily get that out, and start over.